Okay, here we are again at another podcast or another chat or another video. And it's interesting because I did have, as usual, a different idea of what I thought I would be talking about today. But one of the things that I'm truly stepping into and that I really need to allow and let flow through is the true genius voice that I have that does come in, that sometimes I can ignore or brush away. So as I am working through this whole new level of working through the shadows, or working on permanently healing these thoughts and beliefs and these things that I've been holding on to for so long, it's interesting to sort of take on what would seem like a different modality. It's just a slight mind shift, but it's impacting me in a totally different way. So part of that, which is what I was going to talk about, is more about the shadow alchemy tool and how it works and how I've been taught to use it and how I'm using it. I thought I'd talk more about myself. Weird, right? It's a podcast and I'm talking about myself. That's what it's for. That was the whole intention of when I first started this podcast, was for me to express my own opinion in, there wasn't even a goal. There's no end goal. Like even now, and if anyone has listened or seen, you would know that I've changed the name many times. I have redirected my focus, and it was even something that I hardly even promote or tell people that, oh, there's a new episode out, there's new this, because there was never really any expectation on it to get X amount of followers, or for it to lead into some sort of other work or something monetary that I could gain from me being able to speak, so that I could increase my social media standing and get more awareness on who I'm about and what I want to talk about. There's never been any expectation for me. It's just something that I enjoyed, having an outlet where I could just speak my own mind. And whether it was just me who was speaking, or if I had an actual intention of bringing an awareness or a thought or an opinion or whatever it was to other people's ears, it was never going to be end goal-y. And I know this sort of sounds fluffy and in a roundabout way, but there's never been any expectation with when I speak. And now I'm actually creating the podcast from a video perspective, so I can create the video and as a podcast as well, so that you get both. I know some people like watching videos, some people like listening. Like even if you're driving, the audios are easier. So I get it. But anyway, we are going off track. The purpose of today is to talk about where I'm at, what I'm doing, and what I really want to talk about. Okay, so in my podcast last week, I actually spoke about moving over to the dark side. And every week, as my awareness grows, my information grows, my understanding grows, my learning expands, I embody more of my own true self, I have more things to say. I have deeper understandings, deeper opinions, thoughts, the ways that I brought things on for myself, how it's looking for me right now. So it's never been locked into, oh, this is this, and that's all there is. And I know for me that's been something that I have struggled with for the last few years, is really being able to find my own voice. I would follow what other people would say, and I would, in the beginning, I probably really followed more of what people said and really took it on board as mine. As I got to know myself more, as I did get to do some of that, some of the healing and work on some of those beliefs, I was able to really sort of tune into more of my own voice. And then I would bounce people's ideas and stories and things like that up against my own, and I would take on certain ones, go, yep, that one feels good, or no, that one doesn't. And then I would talk about those things that I believe to be true in that moment. And as I kept learning, growing, understanding, downloading, the information would change, my understanding would change. On the outside, people would be like, you know, you could look at it and think, oh my God, this chick, last week she said this week she's saying this. She's got no clue what's going on. And that's the part that I see a lot of people don't do, is it's not just bring on the information and see how it feels for you. It's allowing your own voice to shine through. And that was the piece that I was missing. Even though, yes, I was very, very careful to use my own discernment and to make sure I was bouncing all these ideas and thoughts into my own field, and then taking on what was mine, sending back what wasn't, blah, blah, blah. But in hindsight, it's not exactly what I need to do. So part of where I am now and what I'm learning, and part of working with shadow alchemy, and shadow alchemy extremely briefly, is us looking at our shadows. Our shadows are distorted light codes. They are, when we are pure light, and the shadow, when we are pure light and the light falls, it can become dark, it can become a shadow, it gets clouded, it gets distorted. And so what we're doing with shadow alchemy is using that shadow. We are using a certain way to look at it, allow it to speak, hear it, disprove it, and turn it back into light. So that's what shadow alchemy is. It's allowing those shadows to bring us back to light, because at our pure essence, we are an energetic light being, and that's all we're meant to be, is light. Whether you're talking about light, dark light, whatever it is, it's just light. We need to be, well, that's what we are at our core, is pure light. And it's just the shadows that are holding us back from becoming that pure light. So using the shadow alchemy, we're using the shadows to turn it back into light. Once we turn all those shadows into pure light, hello, we're pure light. That's like a real basic explanation of it. So as I've been doing that work, what happens is, once you start removing those shadows, once you start really looking at them, seeing where they're coming from, understanding their purpose, why they're there, what they really should look like, what they're looking like now, you really start to notice that once you're able to move away from the shadow aspect, from the survival archetype of that thought, from that distorted light field that you are holding in your body, once you are able to illuminate that and dissipate that shadow from the light so it does go back to become pure light, you start to realize that it's not us being able to bring things in and bump it up against our field and take on what we feel is right. What will happen is we are no longer full of that distortion, of that shadow, of that cloudiness, for lack of a better word, being held in our energetic body. So instead what happens is we get the pure genius of who we are. We give them a channel, a space, a container for that to speak, for that voice to speak. So that voice you hear in your head, that sound, those words, however your voice in your head is, however you receive your intuitive words or the information that you hear, or downloads or epiphanies or whatever it is, however you hear it. When you were doing the shadow work and we're working on the healing, you would hear a lot of the shadow voices, that you can't do this, you can't do that, blah, 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 freaking blah. as we start to turn it to light, you won't be able to hear those voices anymore. You won't be able to hear those shadows, because as we're dissipating them, as we're alchemizing them, you will only hear light voices, which means you're going to hear the pure genius of who you are. And once you hear that, you will get the information, you will get the nudges, you will get the ideas, you will get the words for when you were speaking, when you were writing, when you were talking to people, the actions that you need to take, because you are no longer hearing those voices covered in shadow. Because where I have now sort of looked back at all the work that I've been doing over the past few years, where I was probably trying to be like other people and copy other people, and oh no, this person's doing that, so I need to do that, blah, blah. Oh no, but I'm going to put my own spin on it, so it's not exactly the same. So then that's me being original, when it's not. It was still me trying to create with shadow. So what this shadow alchemy has now done, and is still going, it is allowing me now to alchemize those shadows so that I am able to turn my thoughts into pure thoughts. So I'm literally, did you just see that leaf fall behind me? I can't, okay. So using this tool then allows us to remove the shadow and to allow our pure self, our genius self, to shine through. So now I no longer need to search or wonder, oh, okay, so if this person's doing this, I need to do it like this. Oh, but hang on, I want to be different. So I'm just going to do it a little bit different. So I'm not going to do it like that. Maybe I should do this. Oh, no, maybe I should do that. So what I do now is, because I'm a clear channel, instead, anyone who's done any healing work, or anyone's at the beginning of healing work, or anyone who's never done any, you listen to those voices in your head. What are those voices in your head saying? Meh, 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 meh. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know, you may get something in there going, oh, wouldn't it be so good to do this? And then you hear, no, that's not going to happen because of this. You think about those voices in your head, all those sounds that you are hearing, they are your shadows, they are your beliefs. So once you start pulling them all out, what's coming in? What are you hearing now? What is being channeled through you? What are you listening to? Once those shadows have been alchemized and moved on, and bye-bye, see you later, all that can come through is light. And I'm talking about light from moving our shadow to a light. I'm not talking about it from the dark perspective at this stage. But once we remove that shadow, we just have light. So those voices are going to come from light. Those voices are going to be intuitive hits that are made just for you, that come from your true genius. They're not coming from shadow, and they are actually going to be the things that you really want to do, the things that you were destined to do, you were coded to do, you are meant to do as your next step. It's all just going to start lining up. Your energetic vibration, your codes, they're all going to change. Everything's going to start lining up. And the way that I can sort of visualize it or see it in my mind is, and I know people talk about this, it's like a grid, but it is literally like seeing light codes along a channel or a grid or some sort of geometrical pattern. There are two ways that I see these codes. They are either flowy or they are straight. But when you start pulling out these shadows and you are able to bring in these true pure thoughts, this genius version of who you are, once they start coming in, these channels start to light up, and they light up in a way, and it's only recently that I've started seeing this, they light up in such a luminous way, and it's like flicking a switch or something on. It's just like bing. And I know that's a horrible description when you're just listening to these words, but you know how you get those, not like a pearl, but like the shell, that luminescence of you know those white shells that have all the colors, similar to the ones I guess that you find the pearls in, where they have that beautiful, mostly sort of white light essence to them. It has that pearl essence, but it also has all the aspects of all the colors around it. So for me, what I see now is that illuminating of that code, that light frequency light up in your body. And it's similar to this is a really basic analogy, and not, it's like apples and oranges, but this is the best way I can describe it on like a really simple basis. I don't know if you guys have these, but over here in Australia, when you go up the freezer aisle, so we have all our frozen stuff in these vertical fridges, so they're glass fridges, and if there's no one in that aisle, all the lights are off on those fridges, so you can't see inside. But as you walk up the aisle, that has a sensor that knows when someone's walking past, so the light turns on. So as you're walking, the fridge starts lighting up. And that's how I see it in the body, is as we start to make these next steps, these next allow these next light codes to turn on, it's like this illuminating pattern in your body that's going ching, ching, ching. And I know many people will speak of, you know, what's their blueprint, what's their path, what was their mission. I haven't really delved into that or know much about that stuff, whether that's something that's not for me or something that I could tap into later on down the track. It's not something that I can see right now. I just literally see the patterns of those light codes and the illuminating effect of those ideas, those thoughts, those actions that happen when you are able to clear that shadow and when you allow that light to come in. And this is when everything starts lining up. And if you keep removing that shadow, keep allowing that light, those thoughts to come in, you will be literally like walking down a grocery store, watching those fridge doors light up as you walk on down. And that is the path that we're going on. And that's basically what, you know, the whole purpose of finding the light, ascension, 3D, new earth, however you want to look at it, that is the whole purpose of mastering the light. And even though I'm not talking about the dark light that then extends from that, that was just the point I wanted to make of where I'm at and where I'm going. And that was a very long way to get to what I'm speaking about. But one of the things that I've started doing in the last few weeks is actually writing a book. And it's really funny because it's something that I had considered so many times. And it wasn't because I wanted to share so many things. It wasn't because I could have a place and say, oh, look at me, I've written a book. This is so amazing. I've always been someone who wanted to get this whole plethora of information, allow my own genius to flow through it, and give people a tool, an understanding, a set of steps, a helping hand, coupled with story, humor, power, and magic. It's like the essence of who I am. It's how can you put all these things that I feel are the things I like the most into one little area. And for me, the way that this book is coming about is that's going to be the true expression of what I want to say right now. So it is probably so it's a little controversial in the way that it's come about. And what happened was when I first started using the shadow alchemy, the first thing that I noticed, that once you start tapping into the energy of that and understanding manifestation from a slightly different angle, where we eliminate shadows instead of managing our shadows, and we can really blast through and allow things to come through and allow us to really manifest everything that we want. I've noticed that that feeling of you getting excited, of stepping into those power archetypes, those true consciousness codes of pure light that we are meant to be and we're meant to stand in. Once you tap into that, it's that ultimate feeling of being, oh my God, fuck yeah, I can do this. And then how do you think that makes your body feel? It's not just you sort of sitting up straight and go, oh yeah, look at me, I'm so powerful. What's the ultimate feeling that people strive for? And, you know, a lot of people won't want to speak about it or talk about it, but it's like, oh, what about, you know, like having an orgasm or a climax? You're like, oh, you can't talk about that. And it's like, well, you know, I'm not speaking for the whole world, but I'm pretty sure many people that that climax or that experience is one of the most ultimate feelings that you can have, right? That is where nothing matters, where when you are having an orgasm, that you forget all that other crap that's going on. Your life could be turning to shit. Everything around you could be turning to shit. But in that moment, for that seconds, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, nothing else matters. So why can't we feel like that all the time? And no, I'm not talking about walking down the streets trembling all the time, because that would not be very practical. So if we can get to that stage where we feel sort of before that moment, which is how I started feeling once I started doing this work and started to really tap into who I was. So this book is based on that, and it's actually, it's called Hard Dick Energy. And I'm not sure if it's gonna, I've already had my advertising rejected because of the wording. Ugh. But anyway, it is happening. It is being written. It is going to be a book about walking around like your life is in a constant verge of a climax, because that's where we want to go. We want to feel good all the time. We don't want to have our lives where we may have these moments of feeling good and we're like, yeah, today's a good day. I've done this. I found this partner. I've achieved this. I've made this money. I hit these goals, etc. And then the next day go, feeling kind of sad today. Oh, must have something I got to work on. And then going through that and working on all that crap again. And then trying to get back up to those highs. Oh my God, this is amazing. Look what's happened to me. And this constant ebb and flow of going up and down and feeling these up and down moments. So my whole purpose of writing this book is to find a way to master feeling that energy all the time. I know a lot of people will say, oh, that's not possible. We need the ebbs and flows. But do we? I honestly believe, and this is this is something that has been resounding and so strong within my bones, within my total being of who I am, is that everything we create, everything we do, everything we believe, everything we want to do, everything we want to achieve, everything that we have, it is all created from a belief. Everything, every modality, every tool, every story, every connection is literally based on a belief. And I have proven, if you need proof, that, well, if you start looking around, if you start doing any healing work, you're going to look around and see, here's this modality, and it will work if you believe in it. Once you lose that belief, might not work as well. Next, another modality, another story, another tool, another something that's going to help you. Oh my God, yes, this is so amazing. And it works. And then you, hang on. Something else. it's wherever your belief lies. If I wanted to, I could create a tool or a modality or a story or a thing and say, if you do this, this will happen. And if I believed it, 100% believed it, and I spoke about it to you, 100% believing it, and you would be like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I think I believe this too. And you will believe it. It's going to be true because we believe it. So I honestly believe that wherever our beliefs lie, that's how we're going to create the experience around us. So the purpose for us is to create an atmosphere where our beliefs are our own pure beliefs. They are unshadowed. They are not coming from any lower vibrational frequencies. They are not shadowed with old thoughts, ideas, whatever it is, all those things that are holding you down. They're not clouded in judgment. They are pure, genius, individual thoughts. And so my book is going to help people to get to that place where they are feeling good all the time by believing in their own voice, believing in their own selves, by working on their shadows, by working towards their goals, and by 100% believing that anything is possible, that they can achieve anything they want. And there's a few other weird things that will be in there as well. There's going to be some body stuff as well as some science stuff. Because I didn't want a book that was like, here, go and do these steps. I also didn't want a book that went, oh, here we are, I'm talking off in energetic land. And I didn't want a book that was, oh, here's another Anna story, boring. So I've really tried to, it's really going to be written in my own personality. And even though, yes, I can be very straight-laced, I'm actually quite hilarious. But I do have some stories. I do have a lot of knowings. I do have a lot of experience. And I do believe that I'm here to help you illuminate your own light. That is my mission, regardless of how I've gotten to where I am now, regardless of what I've offered in the past or what I'll be doing in the future, in whatever form, in whatever way. I am here to help you illuminate. That is who I am. This is what I need to be and what I need to help whoever it is who needs to receive it be able to illuminate themselves, to be able to find their own light, even if it's in the dark. But that is my mission. That's what I'm doing. The book is called Hard Dick Energy, of course, pending approvals for when it gets printed. However, I am offering it at the moment as a pre-order on Kindle. So my vision right now is that there will be a paperback and there will be a Kindle version. It's funny, and I'll probably do an audio version because I like all three of those mythologies. It's really quite interesting. I do like listening. I do like reading on screen. I never used to. I used to hate it, but now I'm really into it. But sometimes I will start listening or reading one on screen and I'm like, no, I need the hard copy. So I have bought a couple of new books recently, only because I wanted the hard copy. So that is on pre-order. I'll have a link somewhere, I don't know. But that's what's happening for me. That's where we're going. That's what we're doing. And every week in this podcast, or video, however I am presenting this to you, I am going to be always working towards the illumination of our pure light. That's all I'll be doing. That is the essence of who I am, and that's exactly who I am. Hence my dark luminaire whole new persona, which, you know, for me it's like, ooh, it's so mysterious. But it has a lot of different meanings, and I really feel that as we sort of move along and as I sort of step more and more, as I line up those codes in my body that it will make itself more known to what its true purpose and what my true purpose and exactly how these words and the codes and the illumination process will work, not only for me, but for you as well. But that is all for today, and I will see you guys next week.